Hey folks, Russ Bailey here. It's time for another BrushPile Fishing, the video podcast. Place I've never been to before until this morning, Barron River Lake here in Kentucky with guide Jeremy Colvin. Jeremy, how we doing?
Good, Russ.
I'll tell you what, folks, we're going to talk a little Kentucky fishing. You stay tuned. We'll be right back with BrushPile Fishing, the video podcast. Hey folks, welcome back. I'd like to thank, first of all, Bob Cycle for sponsoring today's podcast. I'm with Jeremy Colvin here on Barron River Lake in Kentucky. Jeremy, how we doing?
Doing good, bud.
I'll tell you what, folks, we just got off the water. We are in the middle of August, and believe it or not, you know, everywhere we go, there's a cold front. Jeremy, here in August, you guys have had a cold front now.
Crazy. Don't get many cold fronts in August, but you brought one with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, Barron, let's talk a little bit about your lake. Barron River Lake is one you don't hear a lot about, even in Kentucky. And today, the number of fish that I've seen here on every brush pile, every stake bed we went to was phenomenal. Now, we had to sort through a lot of fish today, but it's a great lake. How many acres is this?
Barron is about 10,000 acres.
Okay. And it's, folks, no matter where the wind is coming from, you can always get out of the wind here. And we caught a lot of fish today. Now, tell the folks the summer pattern, what you like to do.
Summer pattern, I like to target brush piles, and the brush piles I like to target are the ones right off of the creek channels or the main channels, just on the edge of flats. I like the 12 to 15 foot depth like that. Most of it, you'll catch a lot of fish in the 8 to 10 foot range. A lot of the bigger fish come in the 12 to 15 foot range.
Okay. Now, you were telling me a little bit ago, you guys actually had a pretty good thermocline this year. Now, we didn't see it today, but you had it earlier when it was hot.
We did. Back when the water temp was up to about 90 degrees, we had one about 10 foot deep. And some of the stake beds that we fished today that we caught fish on like 10 and 12 foot deep, them fish were actually, we caught them 6 foot deep in 90 degree water.
No kidding. We talked too. I said, man, pull some crankbaits through that stuff right above there. But now today we hit brush piles, we hit stake beds, and some crates that was in there. We caught fish on everything.
Yeah, Barron has a good population of crappie. It provides anything you want to fish. We got the standing timber, lots of brush piles, lay downs, just however you want to fish. It has several different ways to do it.
You know, folks, he talked about, you know, the water temperature was 90 degrees a couple weeks ago. Today, when we were fishing, it was down to 78, so it has definitely cooled off. It's not supposed to do that here in August, but, man, the number of fish we caught were great. We just had to sort through a lot of them. You've been getting them on the Popeye jig, but with this front, we had to go to a straight minnow rig today.
We did. We've been casting jigs, Popeyes and stuff to them, just swimming them over the tops of these brush piles, and that's been a good pattern the last 2 or 3 weeks. But today, they were pretty finicky, and we pretty much had to get straight on top of them, drop straight down, and they didn't want anything moving. They just wanted that bait.
Exactly. And, you know, it was funny, the smaller fish absolutely pounded it. They would pull the rod out of your hand. But the bigger fish that we did catch, I mean, it was a very subtle bite, almost like you walleye fishermen know. It's like the rod got a little heavy, and you just set the hook. They were just basically mouthing the bait. So it was a big difference between the better fish and the smaller fish on how they were hitting.
Yeah, a lot of times you couldn't hardly feel the bite. You would just see your line swim one way or the other. It was just such a light bite.
Yep. Now, we got today's show, folks. It's going to be a good one. But you talk, Jeremy, the wintertime fishing can be some of the best here in Barron.
Wintertime, the big fish show up in good numbers, just like they do in April. You don't have to weed through all these smaller black crappie like you do in the summertime. The whites really stack up on the laydowns on the bluffs out on the main lake. And we catch a lot of 11 and 12-inch fish that time of year. Don't have to really go through all the small ones like we did today.
Now, do they draw this down?
They do. They draw it down, I think, 22.5 foot in the wintertime. They start October 15th with a drawdown. So just however long it takes there. But November through February is some of the best fishing on the lake as far as catching big.
And I tell you, you're guiding that time of year also.
Yes, sir. We're out there every week.
Folks, give this man a call. We had a ball on the water today, and I had never met Jeremy. We talked a couple of times on the phone until we did today's show. We had a great time out there. What's the easiest way for someone to get a hold of you?
If you want to book a trip, best way to get a hold of me is just give me a call, 270-576-7126. If I don't answer, just leave me a message, and I'll get back to you. Or we're on Facebook. If you want to find us, Barron River Fishing Charters, just look us up, shoot me a message on there.
Folks, you'll have a great time. Before we close, I do want to talk again about the winter bite. Is it mainly live bait, or are you casting small jigs there?
We throw a lot of hair jigs.
Okay. So the Popeye jigs should be dynamite that time of year. And folks, also, if you do not have the BrushPile app, I want to remind you, get that app for your phone. Whether you have an Android or an Apple, it doesn't matter. It's completely free. There's so many different features on it. One of the things that I like the best is I'm old school, and I used to keep a hand log every day I fished. You can do that right in the app now. It saves all your information. Go to our guide section. We're going to be adding you on there, by the way. If you see one of our shows and you think, man, that's not far from home, I'd like to go fish with that guy, you go to our guide section. You can actually hook up with the guide right over that. And again, this app is totally free. It's the BrushPile fishing app. So if you don't have that, make sure you get that for your phone. Jeremy, we talked about the summer bite. We talked about the winter bite. When typically does your spawn happen down here?
Typically the second and third week of April is kind of prime time. So just depending on how fast the water temperature warms up, sometimes it happens the 1st of April, and sometimes it could go into the 1st week of May, but typically the second and third week of April.
You ever get a good jig and cork bite down here?
Oh, yeah.
Do you really? Okay. Folks, you know how I like that kind of fishing, so we'll probably be doing a spring show down here too. But I'll tell you, the scenery is beautiful. It's a beautiful lake down here. We were coming into the boat ramp, and I'm not sure what road it was on, but you look down in the valley, man. It's like, oh, yeah, this is nice, man. So, well, I'll tell you what, folks, this show will be out soon. If you're looking for a trip in Kentucky, give this man a call. You'll have a great time on the water. Jeremy, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taping the show today, bud. It was great.
I enjoyed having you out, Russ. Come back anytime.
All right. Folks, I also want to talk about our Veterans Tournament this year. This year, we're doing something a little different. We've always donated the money to the Travis Mills Foundation, which is absolutely a great foundation. You can't go wrong there. We wanted to keep it a little bit more local this year. So in Columbus, Ohio, they have the Veterans and Memorial Museum. It is a humbling place. If you're going to look at Army tanks and planes, that's not the place for you. But they start with the days of George Washington, and they go through the history of our military, a lot of memorials there. It is an excellent place. We're going to partner with them, and we're going to give our money this year to an organization that helps veterans fighting suicide. Veterans die every day due to this, and you guys know how we feel BrushPile about our veterans. Anything we can do to stop even one suicide, we want to jump on board. So a little bit different. First Saturday in October this year on Alum Creek, we'll have the captain's meeting in Delaware at the VFW. So if you've never fished our tournament before, get there. It is a great cause. It doesn't matter who wins or if you're in last place. We all have a good time. We have a big fish fry on Friday night, and you know where all the money's going, so you can't get a better cause. The BrushPile Fishing Tournament. You can check it out on brushpilefishing.com. Jeremy, thanks for joining us, bud.
Thanks for coming down.
All right. Folks, you stay tuned. We'll be back with another video podcast here on BrushPile Fishing.